Hey Ed, how you doing?
Pretty good. How about you, Steve?
I am doing fantastic. Let me turn my camera on.
There we go.
So, hey, I wanted to apologize for last week, by the way. I was terribly sick.
Oh,
So
no,
my
no worries.
apologies, man.
Definitely understand.
Perfect. So we are live. I don't know how many viewers we're going to have live, but I'll definitely be sharing this on my YouTube channel. And then obviously you can do what you want with it as well. Um, so basically, what I wanted to do, I've been talking to people in the industry that, like yourself, that are with smaller companies, that are with fields to help them get exposure. And I thought it would be cool. I know Jeff Bevan out in Oregon, he speaks highly of you guys.
Oh,
So,
yes. Yeah, he is one of our dealers in Oregon.
yeah. So I definitely wanted to talk to you because he's been talking you guys up to me and just wanted to find out who. Now, how do you pronounce it? Is it Azodin?
Yes, it is Azodin.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I wanted to just talk to you about Azodin and pretty much just get the lowdown, man. Give you guys some exposure. Talk about your products. I know you guys had some new releases come out, so
Oh, yeah.
yeah. First of all, like I said, my name's Steve, and you're Ed Hernandez, right? Did I get
Yep,
that
Ed
right?
Hernandez.
And are you the main? Like, what's your role with Azodin?
I handle everything from sales planning in the U.S. office, so it's kind
Okay.
of a kind of delve into everything to make sure that the office runs smoothly here in the United States.
Okay.
Um,
And where are you guys located out of?
we're out of Walnut, California. It's LA County.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So tell me, I personally, and maybe it's my fault, I never heard of Azodin before. Are you guys fairly new? What's the history? Kind of give a little bit background of Azodin if you can.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Azodin was started in 2008. Um, you know, kind of rough timing, I would say, in 2008. That's for sure, especially when
Right.
everything crashed. So it was a bit of a struggle for the first few years for the first office of Azodin. They got by with some of our first models, which included a mechanical and electronic. From there, Azodin, we survived 2008, and we moved into 2009. We went ahead and launched our pump because there seemed to be a market there, especially because it's a California-based company, and in California we love pumps. So,
Yep.
so we brought in pump into the lineup, and that was pretty good for our
Yeah.
company. The next big change for us was in 2011, is when we did a lot of updates throughout our product line. We added a new Rocksteady regulator to pretty much every gun that had a regulator to us. We also put a Zenith and a Chaos D on our portfolio as well. So we were moving up market,
Mhm.
and that went really well for us for about 2 years. I guess after 2008, the next year that was really trying for us
Mhm.
was in 2013. Uh, 2020 at the end of 2012, the U.S. office was not seen eye to eye with the manufacturer in Taiwan because that's where all the markers are manufactured in Taiwan, and the Azodin brand was created by the Taiwanese manufacturer to sell markers in the United States. In the United States, what it was that the original office was, I guess you could say, like a third-party distributor who had sole distribution rights of the product and the brand, and were allowed to use the name. And again, the direction of the company, they didn't see eye to eye on where it should be going. We really wanted to focus more on the markers, on the stuff that we did produce. While the other one wanted to really move in the way of soft goods. So that's where I think that's where the disconnect really happened. So they restructured the U.S. office between December 2012 and 2013, and that's the office that you currently see here. So the office now is controlled by is controlled and owned by the Taiwanese manufacturer. So we're all one entity now, and it really allows us to be a lot more flexible with what we're
Mhm.
doing. Since that time, since 2013, every year we've had new releases and new updates throughout our product line. So it's been a great change. And actually, in 2015, we had our best year ever, I would say, in terms of sales. So
Nice.
yeah, so we
Now
are.
is so everything's coming out of Taiwan then? Is that how it works currently, or
Yes, everything is produced in Taiwan.
okay?
Yep.
That's interesting. Now you mentioned soft goods. Is that still happening? I know I've personally mainly looked at your markers, but are you guys doing a lot of soft goods as well?
No, not really. I mean, most of our focus, I mean, our factory in Taiwan is mostly focused in aluminum type products.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're really focusing on. That's why a lot of our markers are aluminum. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of soft goods, it's not something that we are really looking into at the moment.
Yeah. Well, you're certainly doing well in the marker region. I mean, I've noticed you guys have quite a variety of markers available. Your pump guns,
yes,
the pump markers are awesome, by the way. I was checking them out earlier.
Oh yeah, I think in every line, we have a marker in every line from electronic to mechanical, and like you said, even to pump. Pump was just massive for us last year, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Our company really focuses though on the sub $250 markers. I mean, that's where our strength really is.
Yeah, I was gonna, if you don't mind talking about it for a little bit, I wanted to talk to you about your market. And like I said, I try to get the people that are working for, small to medium-sized companies, because I feel like you guys deserve a lot of exposure compared to some of the larger behemoths out there. But talk about your market a little bit. I noticed that your price range is around 250. So is your market mainly rec ball? I know you obviously pump, you're going to get into a more of a niche market, but can you talk about a little bit of Azodin's market?
No, definitely. I mean, yeah, like you said, we're targeted at the entry level, the rec players. That's where we really are. And we see a lot of new players as well, just entering the sport. So we're in a unique position, not only as ambassadors of paintball, as are many other many other companies, but sometimes we're the first contact that some of these people have with any company in paintball, and we really aim to make it the best experience possible for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think our position is quite unique. Mm-hmm. At the same time, at 250, you do get a lot of casual players out there that don't have an in-depth understanding about how the sport works, the products in it, and even maintaining the markers. So we have to be patient to make sure that we're explaining everything in full, so they understand, how to operate a gun, understand what's in the sport, and how to go about it.
So does that put you guys, being that you're A, California, B, LA County, are you spending time out at fields with awareness of your markers? How are you penetrating that rec ball market?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this year we're making a much bigger push to attend more of the local events in our area and trying to get to some national events as well, to not only meet our owners, but also to see other, prospects out there, other players who are looking to own their first gun. So, I mean, in recent years, we've been at DK of Nations over here at SC Village. That's been a great experience for us for meeting players on the West Coast. Getting to meet owners as well. And for other players who just purchased the gun, sometimes you can just disassemble it right there, and they're like, "Oh wow, it's actually not that hard." No, it's not. Yeah.
Right. And I know you guys have done a fairly good job recently, because I know, talking to Jeff, you have a focus as well with rental markers, right? Are you trying to get into the market of providing rental markers?
Yeah, we are trying to get in the market with rental. We brought over one of our markers that we've been using as rental in Asia. It's called the Centurion. It's priced pretty aggressively, but the biggest point for that one is that it's proven its reliability in the Asian market, where it's very humid, and some of the fields have been using them for 5+ years. Yeah. Right. But it's a market that we're trying. It's just a little difficult, just because we are a small team. So meeting a bunch of new fields is tough.
I hear you. So what does 2016 bring? You mentioned 2015 being your best year, and then we can talk about your markers and the new product line. But so is it just getting the name out for Azodin? Do you guys have a certain business model for 2016? Where do you see Azodin going right now?
2016, it's always a challenge to top your best year. That's for sure. I mean, of course, of course, we're looking to do even better this year. But I think in the position that we're at and where everything is going, we really, like you said, we really want to spread the name. Make it a much stronger force at below 250. and at the same time do a lot more media and production, because we do need to update a lot of our videos, a lot of our just a lot of our advertising as well. It does need to go up.
Yeah. Now, if you don't mind me asking, how does it feel being a company the size of Azodin? You said you're a smaller team. Obviously you're in a market that is ran by a few companies. So how obviously there's some challenges there, but how are you guys? Obviously you kind of found a market with the $250 marker range, but after, say, I'm a rec ball player, after I'm a rec ball player that buys a marker from you for $250, is there a strategy for you guys to keep them coming back? Is that going to be, are you going to offer higher end?
Definitely. Paintball is a great sport, but at the same time, it's not always fun to play by yourself. And that's the beauty about paintball, is that they usually bring their friends, bring family into it. And a lot of the owners that have purchased our gun at one point, usually a year later, will actually own multiple of our markers for family members, because it is an affordable way to own something and also get into the sport.
Yes.
So that's where we really find our strength, and it really comes down to just customer service and responding to the players' needs. And like I said earlier, is that we're really patient with our new owners to make sure that they feel comfortable with the product, and that's usually what keeps them coming back.
Right. Yeah, and that's, for me, that's very admirable, being playing for quite a while now. I think it's awesome to see a company like Azodin coming up where your focus isn't the tournament player, it's not the scenario player. It's the 12-year-old kid that's never played before. And that kid that just wants to play at his local field, open play on Saturday. And I feel like there's more of those kids than there are your players.
Very true. Especially right now. I mean, going out there, especially right now, there's a lot more rentals, a lot of the younger group. You don't see as much, hardcore tournament players going out every weekend anymore. But it's not just the young people that we see. We also see a lot of players that are coming back to the sport because they have kids now and they're getting into it. They're like, oh man, I haven't played in like 20 years.
Right.
It's like, they're like, wow, things have, really changed in 20 years, back when everything was pumped. So yeah. Definitely. And, those are the other ones that we've been targeting as well, because they are the older generation. But they really like the simplicity of the product and that it's reliable. And not only are we willing to explain to them kind of the changes in the sport, but also interact, with their kids and stuff about the product.
I could tell you for sure that just looking at the site and doing a little bit of research I did on Azodin, I can tell you, as a seasoned player, if a new player had come to me, and I have family all the time that, hey, I want to play, or hey, so-and-so's kid wants to play, I would send them to your site, because I know just by looking at your markers, I don't have to sit down and bust out the manual. Like, I can figure it out rather quickly. Yeah. And I think that I think you guys have a good niche there, man. I think it's really something that would appeal to the rec ballers. And those, like I said before, those guys to me are what are making the industry right now. It's your open play players that are playing every weekend for a couple hours, just open play. Those are the guys.
That's very true. Yeah. That's where everything has shifted in the past, 2 to 3 years. It's like, oh wow, where before the crashes, everything about it was tournament paintball. It was. Yeah. And then 08 hit, and I don't look at it. I know a lot of people in the industry look at it. It's somewhat of a bad thing, the 08 crash, but to me, it was a good thing. I feel like because, and you seem like somebody that's been in the industry for a while too. When 08 came, I felt like paintball got so big, something needed to happen, and it happened. And now we're in that building phase, but in a good way. Now you have rec ballers making up more of the market than the tournament players are. And I think that's what's going to eventually get your general public in the paintball is. Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's definitely a wider base when you have a lot of the rec ballers out there playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is quite fun. That's what paintball is all about, really, is to have fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for bringing it back.
Yeah,
That's fun.
yeah. But
Um,
yeah, but I mean, I know you asked me a question about being a smaller company,
yes.
against the behemoths in our industry, and although we don't, we have a smaller team, yes, uh, but it allows us to be very flexible. And as you pointed out earlier, you have to be in those niches to survive when you're smaller. And I think we've been very fortunate to hit them and to really identify what niches we need to be in.
Yeah.
You mentioned the KP3, our pump gun, and that was probably one of our best-selling new launches that we've ever had in 2015. That's what really helped the numbers, and that's a niche because there's nothing else in that price range at all.
Right.
At 230. So
Yeah.
it took a lot of work to get that going, but once we got it, it was did very well for us, and I'm sure it'll continue to do very well in 2016.
That's awesome. Let's get into that. Let's get into the markers because I'm curious to see. You mentioned they're all aluminum, but I want to see, or I want to hear from you. You guys obviously found a price point that works for your entire line.
Yes.
How did you get there? Are you making all of your own accessories? Things like that. I just want to hear about.
Oh yeah, about everything. Yeah, I mean, really, the plan for us was to really have 2 markers in every single one of the types of play, from mechanical, pump, and electronics. So in our mechanical, we have our base Chaos. Then we also have a Chaos Deluxe. We're on the 2nd generation right now for that. The Chaos Deluxe adds a lot of the features that we've developed over the years, such as our zero system, on-off ASA, and our regulator, and is meant as a higher tier marker. And the Chaos line is our best seller here in the United States, and our Chaos D is an extremely good seller in Asia, because in Asia they have a lot more mechanical tournaments than electronic. Yeah, I mean that our Chaos D is considered the tournament gun over there, which is actually really cool though.
It is cool.
Yes, because then you actually see like custom anos and lasering and stuff for the teams. You're like, oh wow, that's their high end.
Yeah.
And then coming to our electronics, we have our Blitz, which we're on the 3rd generation now. So we have Blitz 3 and our Evo. The Evo, just like the Chaos Deluxe, adds the zero system, the on-off ASA. The Blitz is our base model. Our Blitz 3 was launched last year, and with a preset regulator, and that has proven to be extremely durable, and we have a reliability on our Blitz has gone up significantly since that point. Yeah. Our next product is our pump line, which has gotten the most attention in recent years. So we have our KP3, and then for this year we launched our KPC to fill in the lower price pump. Okay. Yeah.
I think that's the one I have it up right now. I was looking at it.
Oh yeah, that's the KPC is the one we launched at Extravaganza for this year. Yeah.
It's a pretty cool marker.
Yeah. So this year we did do three markers. One in each of the play styles. So we have Chaos 2 that we launched, KPC, along with Evo 2 for this year. So those will all be available Q3.
Nice.
Yeah. In terms of accessories for the guns, because we do make carbon fiber barrels as well, along with on-off ASAs and clamping feed necks. All those accessories we manufacture in-house for our guns. Yeah. And again, a lot of those accessories, you'll see them that they're on the higher end markers, but they are available as upgrades for the base models for our markers.
So you said the accessories are on the higher end, and I see you guys have a whole slew of accessories on the website.
Yeah. So yeah, some of the upgrades that you might see are like the on-off ASA, the clampy feed neck, like I said, and then also the zero system, as you can actually upgrade a base model up into the higher end models. Yeah.
Nice. It's cool. I like your barrels, by the way.
Oh yes. Yeah, the carbon fiber barrels are quite light. They're aluminum core and they're carbon fiber wrapped.
That's what I was going to ask. Okay.
Yeah. That's the question we get, so I kind of expected that. Yeah.
They're cool looking though, man. They're really cool. looking barrels. So what's your, I don't know if you said this earlier, what's your best seller right now out of the whole line?
Out of our whole line, the Chaos is the best seller by far. And then following that is the Blitz line, which will be the Blitz 3. And last year, the KP3 really surprised us and took up the third spot. The pumps usually don't take up the third spot, but the KP3 did.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
now talk about that though. Like, how did you guys? Obviously you knew there was a market in the pump arena, but did you just visit a lot of pump events, or did people just catch on that you guys are making a pretty cool pump marker?
Well, the pump one was a little different because I didn't join the company until we redid the office. So I wasn't there for the earliest of years when the first pump came out. But me personally, I started playing paintball in 2000, and I started off with a pump. I didn't have very much money. So actually, I had a passion for pump already entering the company. And I really felt that we could do a better job with the Chaos pump line. Now, the first pumps of KP came up against stiffer competition because there was a lot of older autocockers out there. There's a lot of parts and still quite a bit of knowledgeable players about autocockers and how to build them at the time. So they're like, okay, for $200, you can either get a KP or you can get a half decent autococker pump that was custom built. Right. So the market's pretty tough, but as times go on, the older stuff gets a lot harder to find, and the techs that you once had are no longer around. So at that point, we're really looking at where the pumps are. It was you either custom build your autococker from scratch, you get a sniper, or you get a CCM, and you're like, wow, there is nothing offered at all, really below $300, let alone around $200. The only thing is our KP2. I said, it is possible that we can do much better. That's the thing you should always aim for when you're a small company and you're mobile, is that there's a niche there, you got to hit it. So we're like, we can do much better. And we've had a lot of feedback too from our KP owners, bigger handle, half block design is kind of the way to go. So we really wanted to incorporate that into the KP. And that's what we did. And we went to a half block design, a much bigger pump handle that's composite, not aluminum, stainless steel rods all around. So we didn't have any of the snapping issues that we had prior to 2011. Huh. Yeah. Two-piece barrel, and then we put all the accessories on it. So it's basically fully loaded, ready to go. And we got the pressure down to 250 PSI.
Nice.
And yeah, the rest is history there. We launched it, and that was like, we launched that, and in that extravaganza, I don't think there was any time to rest at all. So many dealers were walking up to us. They were so curious about the pump. There was nothing there.
Well, and it's funny, unless, obviously you're manufacturing a pump marker, so you might have seen it differently than me as a player, but I've noticed kind of a resurgence of pump players. Old ones coming in, guys like myself that have played like nonstop PSP X-Ball forever, that I'm even interested in playing pump now. Have you seen kind of that turnaround recently?
Yeah, we did. I mean, I had a unique perspective, looking at it from a manufacturer and as a player, because after I did the PSP thing for 3 years, I was like, dang, I'm really tired. I kind of just want to go back to playing pump again. It was a little easier on me, go back to go play woods ball and stuff. And I had a wonderful opportunity to play UWO 1 year. Nice. as the sniper on the team, and that really brought me back to playing pump again. I was like, damn, that was awesome. So we did hear a lot of rumors that pump is coming back. There's a lot of interest, especially with limited. I think what it was like topic came up because of limited paint, all the limited paint type stuff that people were doing. And they're like, pump and mag fed and things like that. That's limited paint. I mean, that's extremely fun. You got to try it. It's like, okay. Right. And, we have pump barbecues out here where a lot of the California pump teams will come together, and I've attended, and they're just an absolute blast. Yeah, I really do feel, and like you said, for experienced players that have done the PSP scene, they want to change up. I think what it is, a change of pace. That's
yes.
Yes.
The UWL is the older I get, the UWL is more appealing to me.
Yeah.
I can tell you that.
Yeah, no, it's a blast. It really is a blast. I had a hell of a lot of fun.
And it's cool because, coming from the part of the industry where I'm paying $1,200-$1,500 for a gun to where, hey, I want to get to the UWL. Yes, and it's funny you said this because I personally, I live in St. Louis, Missouri, and there's a UWL up in Chicago later in the year.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm not going to go up there with my LV 1.1. Like, I want to go up there with an autococker or a pump. Well,
yeah.
A, build my own autococker, or B, buy a pump that's already made. Here I go. And it's cool, man. I mean, I'm looking at the KP3 on the website right now. They're cool looking.
Yeah, we're really, we got a lot of feedback from last year, and the people want to see new colors, and you may see new colors later this year as well. So
nice.
Just putting that out there. But I mean, the UWL that I played in, the team that was there that won it for the open division was called Dirtbaggers, and it was nothing but pump players. They took the event, so.
That says a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. Like, man, they were on point though.
I'm sure. It's funny you said that. I just had Philip Vera Cruz. He's a buddy of mine, and I'm giving him a shout out because he's down with the MagFed players in Texas. He runs the Texas MagFed group in San Antonio. They're playing a UWL. I don't know if it's this weekend. It's soon. So they're playing a UWL just with their MagFed markers. And he was asking me like, "Hey man, have you played UWL before?" I said, "No, but I played tournaments." And he's like, "Well, what are we going to go up against? Showing up with MagFed markers." And I told him, I said, honestly, man, I could be wrong, but I think you guys might have an advantage because you're MagFed, so you're more used to being strategic in how you play, whereas the speedball player is literally just going to spray a bunch of paint.
Yeah,
I said, so good luck, But it's funny, man. I mean, and to your point, don't underestimate them because pump guys usually win those types of events because they just have more patience.
Yeah, because I know. When I played UWL, we played with Demon Knights, and they're an all tactical team. They had enough players to field two teams. They just needed some extras to fill the second team up, and that's how we were able to jump on with them. Yeah. But they're an all tactical team, and they knew the format that they're running. You have infantrymen, heavy gunner, things like that. So they were all decked out, ready for the event. I think the first team got third place.
Nice
event. So I was like, oh man,
it's really cool, man. And I'm glad to see a new. And I never knew that, by the way. That was really cool of you to mention the different companies and aspects of pump play. I did not realize that there was that few of manufacturers out there. I really didn't.
There was definitely a lot more, in the earlier 2000s and prior to that, a lot more pumps. I love pumps so much that I've gone back and bought, old Piranhas, old long barrel Piranhas, all brass guns. And, it's like, wow, it is a bygone age. You don't see this anymore. Yeah.
So now you mentioned like the pump arm stain, like if you're a pump player, what's the go-to? You mentioned a sturdier pump arm, and there's a few other features you mentioned. Is that kind of what pump players are wanting right now, the more durable?
Yeah. I mean, we get a lot of comments about our KP3. Oh, you really, we really like to see an auto trigger on it. It's true. Auto trigger really does help pump, I guess you can say, match the rate of fire of an electronic or a semi-automatic. But even from my own experience and from how I play, I really never required auto trigger. It only takes one ball to eliminate. So where the focus was in terms of development, and I think what makes a good pump is not only a solid stroke on the pump handle. Of course, it has to feel nice, sure. But the other one too is consistency, how quiet it is. So can't fart or anything. So you really have to balance out the springs. That's really where it comes down to, just a solid feeling gun that is very easy to operate and pump, and also one that is consistent and doesn't fart. Yeah, it makes it pump. Yeah, because after that, it just comes down to the paint that you buy, how straight it flies.
Right. You've already given the sweet barrel and the sweet gun. You can't do the paint thing too. Yeah.
Exactly. So it is something that at the end of the day, you just make sure you buy some good paint.
Now, and you mentioned maintenance. I'm assuming with your pump markers as well, maintenance is pretty simple.
Yeah, maintenance is very low on the pump markers. There's really not much you need to service outside of the striker and the bolt on a daily basis. And most of the other parts that we have are quite easy to service as well, such as the regulator. And getting to the cup seal is not very hard either.
Yeah. So let's get into I think we covered pump pretty well.
Yeah.
Let's move on to some of the semi-auto stuff. I noticed you definitely have the two AT. It's the ATS and the ATS Plus, right? And
those are the scenario style markers.
Okay. How are those doing? Is that kind of a niche thing too?
that one is even more niche, I think, for us. We don't have a very strong name in scenario play, and also the ATS line. They're kind of outside the Azodin line in some ways because they don't use the autocock or threaded barrels like the rest of the line do. They have spider threads, and I think that's that's been kind of hard to explain for us, to say the least.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, it is what it is. So
yeah. So when you get into, you mentioned like obviously the Z2, and then you have the Blitz, both Blitz lines. Talk about a little bit about those different lines. Is one maybe more rec ball versus?
Oh yes, okay, yeah, but on our website, usually I said we usually have two types of markers in every single one of our lines, but sometimes we do have a third. As you mentioned, the Z2. The Z2 is kind of like the epitome gun. The two.
Okay.
It's almost like a prototype gun that hits production to show that what we can do.
Okay.
In terms of practicing on the machine, so it comes with 3D milling, things like that, to really put our engineers to the test to see like, okay, how far can you go with the design aspect, threading on the bodies and things like that.
Yeah.
So in reality, it's more of a concept gun that hit a limited production number. The production guns that you are getting now, though, are the Blitz 3, which is the entry-level electronic, and again, our second best-selling marker that we have. And yes, that is more targeted toward the rec players, and that is truly an introductory window for players just entering the electronic market. That's usually their very first gun that they get. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So the Blitz 3 has been very good for us because we went to a preset regulator instead of the adjustable. The preset had a big advantage in that it was compatible with CO2, whereas our other regulator is not. So that really helps facilitate a new player's budget.
Yes.
And also improves the reliability of the gun, drastically. Because sometimes players are not familiar with the difference between CO2 and HPA. So.
Especially new players, I can tell you. I've seen it working at fields and stores. Some kids just don't know the difference between compressed air and CO2. So that was a good call on your part. I think having a marker that's capable of just taking CO2 is good because mommy's not going to want to buy little Johnny a $200 tank.
And the preset regular came out of the same thing you just mentioned. They're like, your Blitz, it is targeted at entry-level players. They are not familiar with regulator pressures. They're not familiar with pressure behind the valve and how it affects velocities or anything like that. Right. And most regulators, once you set them up, you don't really have to change them at all, for the most part.
Yeah.
So they're just like, just go to a preset. You're gonna save us, a lot of headaches and explanation, and I'm sure you guys will appreciate it too. So we went ahead and make that change. We took the feedback. Yeah.
It's cool, and it's cool to hear that you're listening to the customer. Like
definitely,
you're paying attention to the people buying your markers. You're making changes that you see fit. Obviously you're not listening to everybody, but you're definitely taking that feedback and then putting it into your design. I personally admire that. Now, what do you guys? You mentioned you attend some events in California. Do you attend some of the bigger events like nationwide, or have you guys started to? Obviously, you're at Extravaganza, but
Yeah.
are
No,
you
in
hitting
terms of
the scenario markets or anything like that, or?
no, in terms of the national events, we haven't attended it recently. Let's put it that way. After the restructuring, we just haven't attended recently because we've been really focused on making sure that our name was on solid ground again. Because usually when a company restructures and is not there for 3 months, you basically are rebuilding from scratch. At that point, you gotta rebuild your reputation and the confidence in the brand, and that's been the focus for almost 2 years prior. But now we're sitting we're very comfortable with where we are in our position. I think we can start attending national events yet again. Yeah.
Talk a little bit about your customer base. You mentioned that you have some loyal people. What are most of them shooting right now? Are they your pump players, or are they kind of both?
It's gotten quite broad.
Yeah,
it's gotten quite broad since last year for our loyal fans. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Geez, I mean, they own anywhere from Chaos to Blitz 3, and then they start to get into pump because they're like, oh man, I got the mechanicals and electronics. I might as well get a pump now to try that out.
That's awesome.
But we definitely do have our fan base, and they do own multiple markers, and they usually just pick and choose for whichever style that they really like. So it's gotten a little harder to identify, just one gun or one style that they're shooting.
Right. Yeah.
I think the prices are affordable enough where they could justify. Oh, I really want to. I have days where I really want to delve into pump, and other days I just want to play electronic and take it a little easier. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I definitely, again, man, I'm certainly intrigued to see that there's a great lower end priced marker out there, but with a high, in my opinion, a high end functionality. It's not like, for $250 you're getting a great marker as opposed to some other markers that you can get for $250, and that's really cool. Now, granted, you guys are in a niche, you have a market, you have your targeted players. Are you ever thinking, or will Azodin ever do higher priced markers?
Expanding outside of the comfort zone?
Yeah.
You guys gonna get that question. It's true. I mean, to grow a market, there's usually two ways you can go. You can either go with even more volume, or you can go up market. Get to the higher price tiers.
Right. You guys have already kind of grown wide, right?
Yeah, exactly. I feel we can go a little wider. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But in terms of looking at higher price stuff, it is something we are definitely exploring. We may not stray too far from where we are now, but it is we're definitely exploring.
Right. And that actually posed a question for me. Like, I noticed a lot of your markers just have straight macro line. Is that something, like one of the things you guys would tweak in the future? Like, hey, let's go
hoseless?
Yeah.
We've been discussing that for like 2 years now, hoseless, and the cost and benefits of hoseless design, especially how it affects affects a target price.
Yes.
Yeah. Because when you go hoseless, there's a lot more machining time that goes into it to do the lines and stuff, and it is one of the things we were looking at. I'm not sure if you're going to see one within the year or so.
Yeah.
I could probably.
And you know what, man? I wouldn't blame you guys, because in the market you have as a company, you have like we said, a lot of rec ball players. Those guys really don't care about that. You're not talking to me, right? Like, we've got tournament players have gotten spoiled. We don't want macro line, but your rec ball players, they're not going to care.
No, what really matters is not only reliability, but the marker also got to look very nice too. I heard about that too. Man, your colors, man, they sell. You got a lot of colors at the price point. That's usually what you don't get. Right. I mean, our Blitz 3 retails for $160. for 160, they're like, you rarely ever get a choice, of colors. Usually you get black or gray.
Right.
And that's really it. A lot of dealers are like, your colors are really nice, and they really help help those players differentiate, among the field. Yeah.
Hey, for 160, you'd make me happy, being the fact that I could get something other than black and gray. I'm looking. Where should I look to see all your different colors, on the web store or?
Well, if you go to the website, it's under markers. The colors are kind of embedded in the picture. So if you go from introduction to like specs, you can see different colors there. I mean, our Blitz 3 has 5 different colors. We have all black, because every gun has to be in all black, of course. Yes. We have a red silver, green silver, purple silver, and orange gold. The one thing that's kind of cool, though, is that they also open up a lot of color swap options. Purple gold if you're a Lakers fan, orange silver to bring it back to what the Blitz had. So there's a lot of opportunity for color swapping.
That orange gold is pretty sick, man. I like that. That orange gold's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's one thing we actually see with a lot of our core fan base that has multiple markers. They like to color swap sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have done something I haven't personally seen, and that's, make that awesome priced marker that A, performs awesome, but B, looks awesome. And even me, I'm like, man, these markers look awesome. And then the price just kind of like, that just sugarcoats it. Like, what?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why we're excited about our Chaos 2. Our Chaos 2 is quite a bit sleeker than the Chaos. We've also added a lot more color this year in terms of the main color parts. So I think people are really going to like the Chaos 2. It looks much sleeker than the Chaos 1. Yeah, when it actually launches.
Let's get to that. You said you mentioned earlier Q3. What's coming out in Q3 again?
3 guns. It's our Chaos 2, which is the base Chaos, and it'll replace the Chaos. Chaos 1. Our Evo 2, which will replace the Blitz Evo in the lineup. And then the KPC, which will basically replace the KP2, which really hasn't been in production since the KP3 came out. Yeah.
Okay. And now, is that what typically happens with the Azodin market or markers? Do if you release a new one, does another one just kind of discontinue, or do you guys keep it out there for a while?
The older model pretty much gets discontinued as soon as a new one comes out. But in terms of parts and support, we don't end parts and support, for another 3 to 4 years, just depending on what's on the marker. Yeah. Because some of the markers that we do launch that are new still use some of the parts from the previous model as well. So there will be parts available. It's not going to be a problem for those owners. They're still going to find parts. It's not going to be impossible to find.
Yeah. Speaking of finding, talk about a little bit with your the Azodin dealers. Are you guys now, being the fact that they're Taiwanese made, do you have a big dealer market overseas as well as the U.S.? Like, talk a little bit about your dealers.
Yes, actually, U.S. is still the biggest market for paintball. I think everyone knows that. Our second biggest market is Asia. Because of our unique positioning in Taiwan to do the manufacturing distribution as well. Asia is our second biggest market, and we're actually close to about almost 80% of all the Asian market, because there's really no one else there besides us and Dai. So, yeah. Other than that, we also have some distributors in.
Hey, hold on, my son's calling me.
Oh, no worries.
What are you doing, buddy? It's all right. Go ahead. Sorry, man.
Oh, no worries. But yeah, some of our other distributors are located in Europe, mostly in the Nordic countries, not too much in Southern Europe. Mm-hmm. Europe is one of the things that's a little tougher to get into because of all the importation laws that range from the different countries, the VAT tax, and even some of the other requirements for like F stamping or field velocities and things like that. So it's tough. The other market nearby is Latin America. Yeah. Latin America, Latin America is quite strict on firearms or anything that shoots. So importing stuff there is extremely hard, and we have a few dealers down there, yeah, but not too many.
How does that work? Because I've noticed, obviously the market is pretty rather large in Asia, but I've also noticed, Latin America is getting rather large as well. So how are markers getting down there for the market to even be that large? Or is it just you can get things down there? It's just hard to get them down there. Is that kind of how it is?
It's much harder to get them down there. Let's put it that way. Yeah. You usually when they import them, they'll usually have to import them through San Diego or through Florida is usually the easiest way for them to import goods of that nature. We don't really handle the importation because the dealers down there already know how to import that product. So they usually say, we'll go ahead and take over because we know the process of doing so. Yeah.
Now, are you talk about the U.S. market? Are you in a lot of stores, fields, both? What do the dealers look like for Azodin here?
It's both. We have a few dealers that are fields and have a shop, but it's mostly in the local pro shops that we're in. Yeah, it's scattered throughout the United States, really, but we're still in the biggest markets such as California, Texas, and Florida, followed by New York. Those are the big markets for paintball, and that's where the majority of our dealers are. But we do have dealers in other places such as like Tennessee, Oregon, like Jeff. Yeah.
Yeah. And how are you obviously Extravaganza, that's a big networking event, but are you guys, I'm assuming, or I shouldn't assume, I know you guys probably have a sales team to where you're doing some cold calling the fields as well. So how are you finding those dealers? Is it just kind of word of mouth? Are you letting them come to you? You guys going to them?
Well, we've actually had a lot of dealers come to us, which has been very nice. So we haven't had to cold call as much as we had to when we reopened the office. Let's put it that way. I think the product that we have is compelling enough, for dealers to want to carry the product. Yeah, because at the moment, in terms of competition, what you really have now is either Tippmann or us in the entry level.
Right.
There are some other companies out there competing with us, but in terms of product name and support, I think we are one of the best for speedball markers below 250.
Right. Yeah, and that's really cool, man. That's something I like seeing as a player and a supporter of the sport is, another household name. And it's cool to see you guys getting up there.
Yeah, for sure. And there's one other region I forgot to mention. It's the Canada. I forgot. Yeah,
we all sorry, Canada.
I can't forget our Canadian customers. They've been very good to us. Yeah, they've been very good to us. And I know when the KP3 arrived, they were very excited. Very excited. I know we have a lot of guys contacting us about our KP2 and our pumps up in Canada. Yeah.
Interesting. Now, I'm assuming it's because there's more woods ball, rec ball happening up there.
Yeah, I would say that. And sometimes paint prices. More expensive in Canada for some reason.
That's ironic. That's a little bit ironic.
Yeah.
Given the fact that's up there. Interesting.
But I gotta say, they make some pretty damn good paint up there. So
They do. So we mentioned Q3. What is there anything else that we can see from Azodin coming in 2016 or
2016? Right now, it's the 3 markers that we have. Yeah. One of the upgrades that we touched upon that we are looking into is the auto trigger. Yeah, because we did add for our KP3, we did add the Hitman plate for it that the players were asking for. And now we feel that we can move on to an auto trigger because now we have 2 pumps that have the ability to use it. Yeah. And I think it's just going to be it's an upgrade that people have been asking for, players have been asking for, and I think it'll really help. Yeah.
Yeah. Will that be something that they can add on to an existing marker, or will that be on a whole nother?
Oh no, it'll be an add-on for the existing lines of KP3 and the KPC. In terms of getting it compatible with the KP2 and the original KP, we're gonna have to look into that a little more. I mean, the other frames are double triggers. The ones that we have are single triggers, but the dimensions and stuff should still be the same. So it shouldn't be that hard to adapt it to even the older models if possible.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. Well, I certainly appreciate you taking the time out to talk about Azodin. I definitely want to, maybe get a pump marker soon. I need to try one out. So I will probably be purchasing one. Is there anything you want to say to, obviously, like I said, I'm going to share the crap out of this video to try to get you guys some exposure. So is there anything you want to say to new and potential buyers out there, the Azodin line?
Come check out the line, really. And if you have any questions about paintball at all, when you call in, just ask for Ed. I'm more than happy to give some knowledge on what's out there and how to really get a good setup, really to get started in the sport. And I really do believe in our product, and that's why I use it on a regular basis. So,
well said, man. Well, Ed Hernandez from Azodin Paintball, I appreciate it, man. Feel free, reach out to me if you ever need some extra promotion. I'm willing to help you out in the Midwest. If anybody that follows Breakout has questions about Azodin, you heard Ed, you can reach out to him directly at Azodin. Can they find your contact information on the website, Ed?
Yeah, I mean, you can contact us through tech@azodin.com, or just, hit us up on our phone number, which is 909-468-3600. Yeah, we're really easy to get to. Yeah.
Cool, man. And again, they're based out of California, so you'll probably see them out there at some fields or whatnot.
Yeah,
but again, Ed,
hopefully you see us at some national events
hopefully.
too.
Yeah, you need to make it out, man. There's so many, especially I feel like there's so many new events coming out now that are national. Like, I hope
definitely.
to see you guys out there.
And I'm really excited that there's a lot of scenario events. Yeah.
Yes. so many. Yeah. So I definitely we all hope to see Azodin. I want to see you guys expand, man. But again, thank you so much for taking the time out. I know it's the middle of your day. It's the end of mine. So you enjoy the rest of your day, man. And again, I appreciate it. Hopefully you and I can stay in touch. I definitely want to see and hear more about Azodin. So.
For sure. Well, thank you so much, Steve, for coming together and getting the video conference.
yeah, no problem, man. I greatly appreciate it. So hopefully we'll talk to you soon.
Will do. Take it easy.
Take care, man. Bye.